Radha Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Radha Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Ora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Ora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayanya 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 Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana. Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga 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 Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Naminehi Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Naminehi Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, 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 Madana Mohana, Haribol Krishna, Haribol. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Haribol Krishna, Haribol. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa,
Haribol Namaste. So let's continue our study program. So I'll read here instruction, the nectar of instruction. So the process we follow is based upon the process recommended by scriptures in this age of Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga means the age of quarrel and confusion. Everybody's confused. You know, symptoms of Kali Yuga is everybody is troubled, very combative, and cannot stop the urge of the mind. If you cannot control the urge of the mind by your own power or your own endeavor, the process wherein the urge of the mind can be controlled or directed is now directly under the guidance of the Supreme Person, Lord Krsna. This is achieved, and we are directed now to follow a process that will help us control the urge of the mind. Because the mind is very powerful. The reason we have this body because of the mind, of our meditation. So the mind directs us. So when we speak of devotional service, we're speaking about love, affection, rendering service. In this material world, our relationship with one another is based upon the influence of the three modes of material nature. It is mainly about ourselves and relationship with somebody who is encumbered or who is in a gross body. Love is inseparable from us. Activities to render service is inseparable from us. But we should come to the point of analyzing, introspecting, and assessing our situation. What is happening to me? Why is it that I'm always bothered and troubled? And I cannot control my senses. I cannot control the urge to speak. It is because we cannot control the urge of the mind. So the process we follow is to be able to harness the mind and redirect it towards the transcendental world. What is that all about? It is about our eternality. It is about our true transcendental position and function. It is about what we are longing for. We want to offer our love and devotion, but not understanding our true identity, contaminated with material influence of the three modes of material nature. That devotion that is inseparable from us, that love, is now focused upon this material world and focused upon ourselves. We become so self-centered, and everything we do, supposedly, with our heart, with our life, with our love, is all directed upon a focus on expecting fulfillment. But the question and the problem we face is, how come I'm not satisfied. So the science of Bhakti Yoga or devotion is a science that connects us with what we're longing for, an eternal loving relationship. But before we can understand that, we must become purified. What is that purification? Purified from false bodily identification, and also become purified from this selfish, self-ego, which we are not. So the main factor how to succeed is to be able to redirect the mind. So we're given this process of the Harinama, the great chanting for deliverance, the sound that can redirect the mind. And we can focus now upon the holy names of God, which will purify us from this covering, from this wall, from these encumbrances, from this ignorance, and be connected with our life, with our love, with our eternal, natural activity, which is to render loving devotion to the Supreme Person. But because we have been conditioned by the mind, we try to ascend, to think what is that devotion all about. But the mind is the sitting place of what is separating us from that world. So the mind must become purified. Understand? Okay? There are 6 principles favorable for execution of pure devotional service. Being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to the regulative principles such as Sarvanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering the Lord, Krishna, abandoning the association of non-devotees, and following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assures the complete success of pure devotional service. So we're given this guidance, how we can succeed. So in the purport of His divine grace, devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. Rupa Goswami has defined devotional service as follows. Uttama Bhakti or pure devotion or unalloyed, pure devotion. That love that is inseparable from the living entity, transcendental to this material energy, matter. When it becomes purified from the covering, from the ignorance, from the disease. Uttama Bhakti or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jhana, and other selfish interests. It means no material contamination, no material consideration, transcendental beyond this influence of the 3 modes of material nature. And how is it achieved? How is it achieved? It is through God's mercy. So instead of trying to ascend to God, to try to figure out God and try to imagine what relationship is in accordance with our conditioning in this world, we must become purified from this material contamination. And what is material contamination? So when we relate to God, to the Supreme Person, unalloyed pure devotion is this. The devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive. No material consideration under the influence of the three modes of material nature. And it is in one of Lord Chaitanya's six Shastaka, when he prays, "Oh my Lord, I have no desire to have material wealth. I have no desire to enjoy any number of followers of mine. I have no desire to enjoy beautiful women. My only desire is to be engaged in your loving service life after life." Not even thinking about salvation. Life after life, eternal. So that is the criteria of what we can achieve if we chant the Maha Mantra. The result will be what Lord Chaitanya is narrating to us, his meditation. But how did he come to that situation? It is through listening and following the guidance of Lord Krsna that he approached his spiritual master, Ishvarapuri, and he was given this instruction to chant the Maha Mantra. And through the chanting of the Maha Mantra, the result is that his affection, his love for the Supreme Person is unraveled. Meaning, he's able to connect his life, his love with the Supreme Person, not based upon the dictates of the mind, not based upon speculation. When we come in contact with this process, because we've been conditioned to ask something from God, we're asking something always. So when we come to this process, we have this tendency to scratch, to ask, have this motive. Even though we're practicing the process of the purificatory process. So when we become mature spiritually, we will achieve the result or the state of consciousness that Lord Chaitanya is expressing in his Sikshastaka. So love for God is achievable, unalloyed pure devotion, and it begins with hearing from the pure loving servant of God, who is an unalloyed. Unalloyed means no contamination. Unalloyed, unconditional, no condition. Just simply in harmony with one's heart, with one's love, in relating with the Supreme Person, the pure loving servant of God. And that is achievable for all of us because we are divine. We're transcendental. Our true transcendental nature is that we're eternal. We're active eternally. And the question now is, where have I been engaging in my activities in this material world and this time and space now? What am I doing? So due to the activities I am doing, I develop, I become conditioned, I have this character, and it is now contaminated with material consideration. This material consideration must become purified. And who will do that? Who will do that? God Himself. Because He wants us to love Him. So He makes effort to tell us this understanding through the guidance of someone who has pure devotion, who is an unalloyed devotee. So what then is a guru? What then is a spiritual master? A spiritual master is someone who has unalloyed, pure devotional love for the Supreme Person, and he lives it, his teacher by example, so he speaks it, and it touches our heart because it's his life. It purifies us. That's why it's very important to come in contact with the pure loving servant of the Supreme Person through God's mercy, and if we're given this opportunity, we are now in this path and the door is open so we can become free from what we're always running away from, the miseries of this world. And how we become free? Materialism is cut to the root. The anchor that anchors us, that encumbers us, that shackles us, will be cut off because the meditation now, the mind is purified through the holy names of God, the Supreme Purifier. That is the process of Bhakti Yoga for us. So now, we're given this instruction. Association. Whom should we associate? We should associate with the like minds of those individuals who desires to serve the Supreme Person, to do the will of God. Why? And if one is fortunate to come in association with the pure loving servant of God, not just physically, but through his teachings, his lotus feet, the connection of his guidance, because his teaching is based upon his heart's pure, unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Person to guide us, to connect us with what is pleasing to his loving Master, his loving friend, Lord Krsna. So it's all about a connection in harmony with God's desire and love. And the process we are following is now opening this path and door, and all what we have to do is listen and follow. So we are given guidance. We must be controlling the urge to talk, because we like to talk. You know, we like to speak. So where is it connected? It's connected with the mind. So one should control the urge of the mind. So when we chant the holy names, the mind becomes pacified. And what is that urge we always want? We, in this world, everybody who is conditioned, who has been using this human form of life, simply based upon eating, sleeping, mating, and depending. Animal-like. So the topic, the subject is about this world. And it pollutes us because what we hear, mundane sound, it enters our ear, pollutes our heart. So association is very important. And what is that association? If we have this opportunity to come in contact with those who are engaging in this chanting of the holy name, Sankirtan movement, then we can be hearing the glories of God that will purify the mind and connect our heart with God's love. That is the process of Bhakti Yoga. So the problems we should see, how we fall far short, is our desire. What is our desire? Because the desire in the mind, when we are contaminated, when we are identifying with the false ego, the desire is connected with our selfish interests, to be satisfied, to do our will. So that must become purified. We must become purified from this material conditioning. So when we understand what separates us is the sound we hear. Because we are empty within, the urge of the mind, the desire is there. When we meet someone, immediately we speak. The tongue runs, da 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 da. And what do we hear? The sound of the frog, the sound of the dog, the sound of the pig, the sound of those who are dead. It's all about this dead world. And it does not give you satisfaction. And not only that, if the sound is under the modes of passion and you are influenced by the mode of passion, then immediately you become, this agitation, this drive, this libido, and you follow the dictates of the mind, influenced by the mode of passion, and you follow the senses. You understand? So the science is about clarity. Everything we do must be based upon clarity. Because when you're given instruction, for example, there is this path to get out of this jungle of misery, and he gives us this path. Okay, follow this path. And you just walk straight. So we listen to the instruction of God. He tells us, in this age of Kali Yuga, it's very hard to control the mind. But the Maha Mantra can redirect the mind to purify the mind and draw it away from matter. Meaning it becomes purified that the mind now is focused upon doing the will of God. So that is the process we do. So now we have this problem. For example, here in Madana Mohana Academy, if you cannot control your urge to talk, you want association, when you meet someone or your friends here, because you're so conditioned that your friends, immediately you talk about the topics about her life, his life, your neighbor's life, and about the environment. You never, even when the mind is, you're in control, directed by the mind, you're not in clarity, that you're not even listening to what you're saying. That's why it's very important to be with wisdom, to be in meditation, to be what we call Goswami, someone who can control the urge of the mind. Because if you're mind-driven, and your mind is so contaminated with material desire, immediately your interest is about this world. And you get entangled in this world. The shackle or the anchor is not cut off, but it becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. And the shackle that shackling you, or shackling, meaning the focus of your senses, the focus of your mind, your whole being is based upon identification of this material body and following the subtle mind, the dictates that the mind, the desire is driving us. So we are helpless, You think you're in control? You're not in control. Because you are just a person inside this body, life. And this body is under the three modes of material nature. It's a machine you can do. But there is a science of devotional service, practice. It begins with sarvanam, kirtanam, hearing. So the hearing process is God Himself purifying us. So we can redirect the mind. That's the beginning. And then the result is that we are advised that when we relate, it must not be based upon fruitive work, fruitive result. When you do something, you want the result. It must be pure, unalloyed, devotional service, no material contamination. And it can be achieved, and it's achievable when we come to the point of realizing and understanding our true transcendental nature, what is inseparable from us, our love, our heart, when we decide, I will do the will of God. That is the instruction of the Son of God. He has no other will but to do the will of God. So now we can check, am I in that state just to do the will of God? Or I'm identifying with the false ego. I'm the false ego now, the mind. I'm the world. I'm the center. Very selfish. My will be done. But because you're not self-sufficient, you're not all-powerful, you will be subjugated by the three modes of material nature and suffer the consequence of karma. As you sow, you shall reap. A certain activity leads to a certain consciousness. What is that consciousness? That is amiable, that is transcendental. It is the consciousness of pure, unalloyed, devotional service that is in harmony with the will of God. So Lord Krsna in Bhagavad Gita tells us, just surrender unto me, abandon all varieties of religion. Abandon all varieties of religion. What is your religion? You cannot control your tongue. Like the frog, koka, 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 koka. And the serpent or the snake sees that, Now in our situation, you cannot control your tongue, saliva, dripping, it's running of the tongue. You meet your friends, you talk and talk. She comes from another place. Her auntie came from Cebu, who has COVID, You talk to her, she's contaminated. You talk, she talks, and the saliva, you're exchanging saliva. Blah, 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 blah. Now you're contaminated with COVID. And not only that, the sound you hear will be the anchor, will be the character you develop, will be the consciousness that you will have. Because a certain activity leads to a certain consciousness. And that activity based upon following the dictates of the mind, based upon the influence of the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, you're entangled in the laws of karma. But there is a process that is transcendental. It's called a karma. And what is that? It is the will of God. The word of life, the word of happiness, the word of love. But you cannot pierce that word through your mind, through this body. And if we're fortunate to come in contact with God descending through His unalloyed devotee, our spiritual master, who guides us, who teaches us, then, if we are sincere to get out of this, this dead world, then we follow the process. And the effects, the solution is there, the result will be there. Because we can see the result. Just like you are all, we're coming here, many of you are mathematician, mathematician. But before you are able to do mathematical calculation or even to speak grammar, good grammar or compose composition, you went to a school. Somebody taught you, taught you ABC, taught you word meanings, and taught you how they teach you how to construct a sentence, what is noun, pronoun, what is the subject. And those who are mathematician here, you were taught basic arithmetic, subtraction, and after that they teach you higher math. And because you follow that, you are now able to compute. And not only that, you become a computer programmer because, if you pursue that course, you're able to understand the science of mathematics based upon what programs you would want to do. You're able to calculate. You're able to make correct decision. Understand? That's why you can speak. You can speak English language, language of grammar, because you follow the process. So the process now is we should ask, what is inseparable from me? My love, my life. But I want real happiness, eternal happiness. But with this body, it seems impossible because I leave the body. If you get attached to somebody in this world, you leave that person. Because that person may leave the body first or you might leave the body. So you have invested your time and energy into something that's futile. But if we put our time in meditation, in following amiably the science of Bhakti Yoga, pure devotional service, which is eternal, a word that is transcendental, coming from the spiritual world through the representative of God, like Lord Jesus Christ, the saintly person, our Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, then you'll achieve the result. Because it is achievable. You can love God. You can surrender to God. You can do the will of God. And every day, through the process of purification, the Hare Nama enthuse you, gives satisfaction to the heart. That's why it's very important to control the tongue, not to talk nonsense. That we should be chanting and purifying the mind. So the urge of the mind to will to the urge, the scratch, directed through the senses, and you identify with the mind and the senses. Immediately the mind tells you, blah, coca, 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 coca. It's not purifying. But if you're with clarity, you're able to become a yogi. A yogi means someone who is practicing and making effort to be connected in harmony with the Supreme Person, with the Transcendental. Transcendental, not matter. You, the person, life. And the sound that comes from you reminds you, connects you with the wisdom, with your heart, with your love. Then you'll succeed. Because all those who followed have succeeded, following in the footsteps of the saintly person. You understand? That's why the spiritual master is very cold with our false ego. Because the false ego is not real. Because we have been conditioned to think we're great, we're perfect, I'm good. I'm a devotee. I'm pure. And the spiritual master sees that. It's the urge of the mind, You're being conditioned to think that you are, you are not what you are. And he tells you, you're arrogant, you're nonsense, you think you're self-sufficient, you're lost. And immediately the false ego dances, How does it dance? You run away. As if somebody's, pointing, a spear upon you. You think, you're hurting me, You become angry. What? I'm nobody? I'm somebody. Because all my life, I want to be famous. My reputation. Diba? What you do? That's what we do if you are aware everything in the morning, instead of focusing upon taking care of your health, have good, brushing your teeth, taking a bath, eating healthy food, to live so you can use this body, but to serve God. But the activities you do is not like that. You want to eat, you want the body, you want to focus upon cleaning your body and everything because you want to be accepted. You want to be famous, to be accepted by those individuals, to be loved. But that love is illusion, based upon false bodily identification. So the false ego is like when my spiritual master was giving an example, you're like a turtle traveling in the savannah. You know savannah in Africa? It's summer, then it rains. The savannah is filled with water. And the crocodiles and everybody there, the birds are happy because there's the fish are there, and the turtle traveling from the, he came from the ocean, went to the desert. He's thirsty and he goes there to swim, walk. But he has this turtle walk, He walks so slowly. Then it will take him 6 months just to cover the savannah because he walks the turtle walk, Because you are so much attached to this world. You cannot just walk directly to that door given to you by the representative of God, guided by the representative of God. You walk there slowly, 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 because you're encumbered, you're shackled. And then, what happened? The water begins to dry up, evaporates through condensation, and the whole savannah becomes dry, and you're covered with mud, and that mud becomes petrified, fossilized, and you cannot move. You're now helpless, and you look around. The tigers are there. Not only that, the crocodiles, they're there in front of you, watching you with these cold eyes, and you're helpless, That is your situation. And the spiritual master comes, this person who's traveling, oh, poor turtle, he gets something and try to crush the petrified, the petrified covering of mud. And the turtle, you're hurting me. You're hurting me. You're hurting me. That's why when the spiritual master tells you, you're arrogant, you're selfish, you're hurting me, you're hurting me. Because our direction for happiness is about ourselves. I'm famous, I'm great, That's a false ego. And the spiritual master, in the beginning, is a burden to the spiritual master to have students and disciples who are really in a false ego situation. Because he takes effort to crush that false ego. Just like the turtle, tells, and the turtle, you're hurting me, and then try to bite that hand holding this scraper to get off that mud. He tries to bite. So when the spiritual master comes and tells you, you're not doing good. And you meet me? I'm the man. I'm great. And that spiritual master tells you, the activities you do is based upon material consideration. You speak nonsense, you hear nonsense, you get shackled in this world. Oh, no. You come here, you think you're the body. I'm a woman. I need to be loved. In my conditioning, all my friends are having girlfriends and boyfriends. I want to give my love to that person. And the spiritual master tells you, you know what? It will give you pain. Because your activities, your love is directed upon someone who is not God. And you begin, no, I want to do my will. It happens here, Parents tell their children, hey, daughter, Andrea, don't have a boyfriend first, finish your study. And then she runs with the boyfriend. And the mother goes and take that Andrea back and tells her, no, you should not. You're still young. And Andrea will tell, oh, mommy, I'm falling in love, It's love. No, it's nonsense, And you run away. So that is the problem we face. We run away from God. Just like a goat. If it's rain, what will the goat do? What will the goat do? Why is the goat afraid of the rain? Because he doesn't want to take a bath, He wants to smell like a goat, feel like a goat, Meh, So that is our situation. So this false ego must be purified, must be cut off. So the mind must be redirected by the process that will purify the Supreme Purifier, Krsna. And how to do that? To come to the point with a focus, with a goal, to experience pure unalloyed devotional service by following the purificatory process and the advice. And the Lord Jesus Christ tells it directly. The enemy of the cross are those who set their mind on earthly things. What could be more earthly than this body? You worship the body. Diba? You follow the mind, you worship the body. Just like there's this problem now. Nobody knows who they are. They think, am I gay? They put gay, means happy. But I'm not happy. I have to plant, giggle with the people, I wear dress, to show people, I'm cool, I'm happy, I'm gay. And we tell you, you're not gay, You're not even human being. You're spirit soul. You're identifying with the mind. You have material consideration. But I like it, I like it, So that's the false ego. So this is a science. This path is very narrow. That's why nobody wants, have you seen everybody? There's 6 billion people here. Who's interested in solving the problems of life? Birth, death, disease, and knowledge. Who is interested in doing the will of God? Everybody wants to do their will. Yeah? So that's the problem. We are all here in this material world because we want to do our own will. So we don't blame anybody. You don't blame God. God is not testing you. Because we have decided to make this choice to do our will for ourselves. To be alone. And the problem is, I'm not God. I'm not self-sufficient. So you're always experiencing this connection with your love, with your heart. Your heart is empty. So the process of mantra meditation will connect us with the warmth and the embrace of God. And cut off this anchor, this shackle, because the false ego will become purified. We begin to realize our true eternal identity. Aham Brahmasmi. Realize, Not just, no, you're not spiritual. Spiritual. What spiritual? It is you, the person, realizing, yes, my love. Then when you're in love, really in love, you do the will of God. You live that word of loving God. The goal is to be resituated with the Supreme Person's desire and will. And when you come to that point, you experience in your life, there's nothing more to be gained. That even though it's a struggle, we know there's nothing more to be gained except doing the will of God. So while we are here in this material world, trying to come to the point of unalloyed pure devotional service, we're given this process. And these are activities we should do. These are sacrifices to control the mind, to control your talk. Because if you talk nonsense, you will be the one first to hear nonsense. You understand? What you eat, your tongue, you offer food to God. This body now can be used to do the will of God. The 9 process of devotional service. Hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, all with a focus of devotion that will purify us from these material encumbrances of the false ego. And when we achieve that, we come to the point, there's nothing more to be gained. So I like to give, before I close this topic, I like to give you an example. There was once the son of a king, Dhruva Maharaj. Because his stepmother wanted her son to be the ones who will sit on the throne. So he told Dhruva Maharaj, don't sit on the lap of your father. So what he did, he went to the forest and meditated. He meditates upon Lord Vishnu, Krsna, with the intent to have a kingdom greater than his father. He achieved that because in his meditation, Lord Krsna appeared, being a child, a young child. Meaning, it does not matter. Your body may be old, your body may be a child, but because it's a common cultural knowledge in the ancient times, they know how to focus their mind. They went into this process of meditating upon the Lord within the heart in focus upon Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu appeared, Krsna in front of Dhruva Maharaj, a child. And Krsna tells him, my dear Dhruva, when he's seeing Lord Krsna, Lord Krsna said, whatever you wish, whatever you desire, I will fulfill it. You know what's now the consciousness of Dhruva? Prior to his meditating and engaging in such meditation to have a kingdom greater than his father, the result is this. My dear Lord, I'm seeing you now, I have no more desire. Yeah? Even Prahlad Maharaj, after killing Hiranyakashipu, and Prahlad Maharaj, Lord Nrsimhadev asked Prahlad Maharaj, my dear son, whatever you wish, I will fulfill. There's only one wish he asked, Lord Nrsimhadev, please kindly forgive my father. So when we come to the point of pure devotional service, we'll experience what they are experiencing, what they're living, their hearts, their whole being. So meaning, we do the walk. If you're thirsty, there's water, take the glass of water, drink it. Yeah? So your thirst will be quenched. If the spiritual master tells you, give me a glass of water, you give him a glass of water. Don't give him a glass of milk. If he tells you, walk straight and that door, and you're knowing, it's hard because, you're like a turtle, you walk hard because, the shell, this body, hassle. But when you enter that door, because while you are engaging in the process of pure devotional service, the shackle, the encumberment, the anchor is cut off. So when you enter that door at the time of death, you can enter because the body you leave. The body now, it's like a dress. That's a problem with materialists. That's a problem with the hospital. It's okay to take care of people's health. Somebody's drowning, you run. You take off the dress. You think the shirt. I save you, I'm saving you. But the person is dying. It is shown through example. Chico the Prince, he came from the ghetto, very poor. And now he's on top. Very famous, wealthy, riding limousine with all the young, the beautiful girls around him and the famous people around him, glorifying him. You're great. And what did he do? He got a gun and shot his head. So it means not really satisfying. So when you come to the point of pure devotional service, you will be like, you'll experience what Dhruva Maharaj experienced. There's nothing more to be gained. And it's natural because we are all eternally divine. And our true transcendental position and function is to be engaging in harmony with the love and the will of the Supreme Person. That is the reason he came here, to establish religion. And what is that religion? It's not the religion you see here, the paint. The faith can change. You can be a Muslim today, tomorrow you can be a Christian or a Jew or whatsoever. Or you can join any Ku Klux Klan or whatsoever, faith. But faith change. But there's something that does not change. It is your eternality, your position and function. You're eternally the loving servant of God. So now, we're like turtles covered with this mud, putrefied, and the spiritual master gives us guidance to chop it off, take away what is covering us, this anchor, these encumbrances, and it's focused now upon the redirection of the mind, yoga. That's why in this age of Kali Yuga, the Maha Mantra draws away the mind from matter and connects us with what we're longing for, love for God. Is it clear to you? So if you're serious about solving the problems of life, cutting off the encumbrances, the anchor that shackles you to be embracing death always, you're always embracing death. Oh, because of your meditation, you hug the body. You're a body hugger. And what is a body hugger? You're embracing death every day. Because of your mind embracing the body, you identify with the body. So you're a death hugger. You understand? You hug death. And what will happen when you leave the body? You cry, melancholy. Ah! All the sources of your focus of happiness is cut off, and you feel an empty heart, and you suffer. It's a heart-wrenching, experience. But with this process, the separation from the Supreme Person, the more you become purified, the more you want it. The more you want it, the more you taste it, the more you want it. That even in the face of adversity, through the sacrifice you do, the austerities, you make a stand and follow the teachings. Follow that path because it gives you connection and protection, because it gives comfort to the heart. It connects your life, your love, in shelter. You are now experiencing unalloyed, unconditional love from the Supreme Person. And the activities you're doing now, you're making effort, like sculpturing, to be also experiencing this unalloyed, pure devotional service, to do the will of God without any material consideration. That is pure love for God, like Lord Jesus Christ. It's achievable. Love for God is achievable. All of us can be situated back in our true eternal transcendental world. So it's not of this world. It's not the talk of the prags. It's not the talk about how great we are. No. It's not about this material body. It's a process wherein we can use this body, the mind, and be pleasing to God, to do the will of God. Is it clear? Is it understandable to all of you? So now you have a choice. Either to be shackled, to be encumbered, to be anchored, or to be a dead hugger. Hugging your body, dead body. I'm this body. So don't think about an experience of freedom because you're already a body hugger, a dead hugger. You identify with that. Okay? Haribang namase.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Krsna Bhakti.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Krsna
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. 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 Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Hare Krishna Prestayate.